Alrighty. Good evening. Happy Tuesday. It is the Believe in Georgia Dogs podcast on the Believe Network. Welcome in, everybody. Hope you're enjoying this SEC Media Days week. We are flying towards kickoff. Everything is going really, really well. It is I got an action-packed show for you guys. Kirby had a great appearance at SEC Media Days. Talked a lot about how the team is progressing, how things are going. We'll address the most recent incident with the driving stuff. Carson Beck, he's poised for a big year. I think there's going to be some standouts that you're not really expecting, like KJ Bolden, things like that. So there is a ton of things to get to, and we will certainly get to that. But first, we are presented by betonline.ag. That's right, your number one source for all your sports wagering needs. And if you want to bet it, they have it. So BetOnline is your number one source for all of your sports. Like I said, from MLB to golf to soccer, you can bet on UFC, boxing, all of that. Jake Paul fight is this weekend. It's not against Mike Tyson. I think that's going to be postponed, if not canceled, but you can bet on that as well. But BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, you can head over to the online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slots games. So head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. BetOnline, the game starts here. So obviously the biggest story right now is SEC Media Days. And I'll be honest, it's kind of strange seeing Nick Saban at the broadcast desk and seeing him do Sports Center hits and things like that. I think he's still trying to get used to that aspect of of broadcasting. I think he's still trying to figure out what he wants to do and how he needs to hold the microphone, what he wants to say, and all that stuff. He's pretty comfortable on the desk. He's done enough college football playoff roundtables and discussion desk that he is pretty comfortable there. But as far as like being a full-on media guy, it's still going to take us some time to get used to all that, because we're not used to seeing Nick Saban in that light. But it is fun. It is great to see his insight. I think he is showing a lot of personality. I think he's somebody that is really good on TV, and he's gonna add a ton of insight to the college football world, especially the SEC network world and SEC football. So I'm very excited. I think everybody is too. And I think there's a lot of teams out there that's excited that he's on TV and not on the sideline, because he dominated for so long. And so hats off to Nick Saban in his next phase of his career. But Georgia's the top dog, pun intended here. But before we get into any of that, I know you're probably wondering where Israel is. Israel is currently playing the role of Tim the Toolman Taylor. He is fixing his AC unit in the gym. Him and the other coaches down at Thomasville are fixing the AC in the gym, because it's 93 degrees inside of the gym. So I don't know about you, but 93 degrees inside a building is downright miserable. So this is after they had an OTA, which in Georgia you can do the OTA stuff where you have pretty much full-on practice work days padded versus other teams. So they went down and got some work against Bleckley County. Hopefully they're improving as they implement some new schemes and some new things and some new philosophies offensively that my man Israel Troop is bringing to the table. So I'm going to use this episode to kind of react a little bit to SEC Media Days. I'm not going to get anything too heavy, because I do want to save some of that for when Israel is able to record with me, when they're not so busy. July is probably the busiest month, one of the busiest months out of the year for football coaches, for high school football coaches, because of all the 7-on-7 tournaments, the OTA stuff, the the schedule that's kind of funky because you're not in school, and there's heat advisory stuff, and there's all kind of things going on, preseason things going on. Um, I know it sounds crazy, but it actually kind of stabilizes during the season. So, because you kind of know what to expect during the season, it's very regimented. Once school starts and once you get in season, those schedules kind of level themselves out. So we'll get on more of a routine, and that's kind of why we've been kind of helter skelter here, just trying to figure out exactly when we can jump in and record because both of our schedules are kind of crazy. And ironically, I'm not coaching. I'm going to take a year off. I might go the John Madden route, but I think being able to match up our schedules has been the biggest challenge so far. But we're getting there. But that leads to him not being available tonight. But that's okay. So, um, like I said, I'm gonna use this episode to tee up a lot of things for him. So if you have any comments, any questions, any burning questions you want to know, just leave it in the chat. We're live. We're available. But like I said, Carson Beck is poised for a monster season. I'm very very excited about what he brings to the table. So Kirby Smart, um, I think the biggest talk of college football right now is the helmet technology, the new helmet technology, and the fact that they're allowing college football to get into the 21st century and even further into the 21st century and into the third decade of the 21st century by allowing tablets on the sideline. The NFL did this a while ago. I don't see high schools have been doing it ever since tablets were a thing. Like Huddle has been on the forefront of creating sideline technology. So I just don't understand why college has not adapted that, being able to. I mean, if Bleckley County High School in South Georgia, who has no budget, can afford to get Huddle sideline, there's no reason why University of Delaware can't supply iPads for sidelines, and why the NCAA wouldn't allow it, because if small high schools with no budget can do it, there's no reason to say budgets are not a thing. Like, you can't say, hey, it's not fair because some teams can afford it and some teams can't. Well, in that realm, you just got to look at the high school example and say, yeah, no, we know that's a load of crap. So I think it's a very positive thing. I mean, there's a ton of advantages. The helmet technology as well, I think that's been long overdue with the whole sign stealing thing, but I think it goes deeper than that. But the whole sign stealing thing has gotten out of hand, where it's gone from gamesmanship to Michigan actually taking it like 10 steps ahead and doing some actual real live cheating with their sign stealing. So helmet technology, I think Michigan helped expedite that. That's long overdue, because I think it's good for the offensive coordinator to be in the ear. With the shortened play calls, I think this is going to allow coaches to feed more information to their quarterbacks, giving them looks, giving them, say, hey, watch 13, he's creeping, or hey, they're showing cover 2, alert to this. Like in the play call, they could say, they could give you still the quick play call, and then they can give you all the alerts, all the checks. Hey, we're going to run 99 dynamo, alert the Mike backer, set the protection to the left. Just little tidbits of information that they can get in that's pertinent to the play, and they'll probably be, because of the way the play clock is, and the way the technology is going to be, where it cuts off at 15 seconds. They're going to be able to get a little bit of information in there, so it's going to help them not have to get too much information in there, but they're going to be able to get at least one alert, one check, one read, one something, in a check with me scheme. They can call it into their ear, where they get up to the line quick and try to diagnose it, and they can have 2 play calls and say, okay, check, and go to their one word calls, things like that. I think it just opens up a line of communication that's more streamlined, so that they can get a better picture for the quarterback and make sure the quarterback calms down. Like, it's also good psychologically to be able to calm the quarterback down. And so there's a ton of advantages where you have that. But Carson Beck made a joke and said, he has to go ask the equipment guys to tone it down, to turn the volume down because Mike Bobo's yelling in his ear. Um, that's some of the things that you're going to get. Like, these coaches are going to have to get used to, like, not screaming into the microphone, um, because the louder it gets, you see quarterbacks do this a lot when they're trying to listen in the NFL. Like, if the coaches have to, this is going to be good practice for the coaches too, because instead of like screaming into the microphone and trying to yell, they're going to have to really find ways to talk clear. And you see the NFL guys, and they're they do the cover like that. It works twofold. Like, you're trying not to read the lips, and you're also trying to create a little bit, as much of a barrier as you can. And it actually does kind of work. You do get a little bit of a sound barrier there with a laminated sheet over the microphone. So I just think it's gonna, the effectiveness, the efficiency is going to increase the level of play for quarterbacks, and I think it's going to allow quarterbacks to play more mistake-free football. I think it's going to let them prepare for the NFL better. I think you're going to get some higher level reads going on. You're going to get more check with me's probably. You're going to get more call it at the line type deals, and really you may even get more huddling too, so that you can get these longer play calls out, and these longer things like the NFL does, where they have these big long play calls that tell every position what to do. So there's a lot of advantages to that. Now, I know Israel wishes he had the helmet technology in high school to be able to call the plays into the quarterback and not have to worry about signals. But the thing that I think also that college has been way behind on, that's awesome, that I talked about, was the tablets. And the tablets on the sideline is going to allow them to get a really good picture of how the defense is playing certain looks. I think you're going to be able to tag things. You're going to be able to telestrate. You're going to be able to do a lot of things with, and especially in college where you're platoon. So like when the offensive line comes over, you're not worried about some of those guys going on playing defense. Like, you can meet with the entire offense if you wanted to. So with colleges, you're going to start to see, and you see this with some of the big high schools, you're going to see these big TV setups, right? Like, if you ever been to a Buford game or like a North Gwinnett game, or Valdosta game, like who just name a big school, Milton, um, Stars Mill, just go through the big schools. Okay, next time you go to a game, watch for this. Okay, and this same is true in Tennessee, Oakland. I live in Nashville. If you haven't gathered that, but Oakland, Riverdale, those schools, Blackman, they all have the TVs on the sideline as well. But you'll see this big tent, and you'll see probably this 55, 65-inch TV on a cart, and then you'll see the iPads hooked up to it. And then oftentimes you'll see whatever guys are not playing defense huddled around this TV. And at some of these bigger programs, they do two platoons, so that's good. But you'll see them huddled around these TVs. And you'll see a coach or two coaches or a couple of coaches standing there like it's a team meeting. They're going over film. They're rewinding. They're looking. They're pointing. They're telestrating. They're making adjustments. No more of these whiteboards where they're having to draw everything out and all that stuff. You can have the iPads. You can pass out. I think you have up to 18 iPads. You can pass those things around. Like, you can have 9 for the offense, 9 for the defense, and you have guys just passing them around. Like, you could pair up. Hey, You can have one for the quarterback and the quarterback coach. So like, the next in line with Mike Bobo, because Mike Bobo's upstairs, you could put a headset on Carson, and he's on the iPad, and Bobo's on the iPad, and they're both like, all right, and going through the reads. So I think it's, and defensively the same way. You go in, you go with the looks, you try to find tendencies, you kind of look at situational stuff. Like, there's so much more information you can gather and break down that it's going to simplify your approach. You're not searching for answers. You've got them right there. Now you just got to look at it, digest it, and apply it. And the challenge becomes applying it versus finding it because it's there. And so it allows teams to be more effective in how they prepare the next series. And it's going to make the games more competitive, more fun, because I think there's a better, bigger chess match involved when you have better technology. It's going to allow for these coaches to really have to hone in on their tendencies, to really have to not get locked in on certain things in certain situations, and to really kind of dive more into that chess match. It's going to, for me, what I love is it's going to take the more systematic approach out, and you're going to get more into instinctive chess, which is awesome because now you're going to really see how talented these guys are. Like Mike Bobo, when he gets instinctive, he's great because he played the position. He played quarterback. He was there. He's knowledgeable. He knows what's going on. But when he starts staring at his play sheet and he starts becoming systematic, it gets clunky. You have more 3 and outs. There's plays that don't make sense that look like, okay, what are we trying to do here? Like you're left scratching your head, and that's when you get the run damn ball, bo, all the trial, all in one syllable. Like you get a lot of things out there that just aren't good. So this honestly will make offensive coordinators more instinctive. To be honest with you, and this will be able to disseminate more and better information to the quarterbacks and to the rest of the offense. It's going to make play calling more effective. I think you're going to get more into some check with me stuff. You can get them to some more complex things because you're able to feed that information to your quarterback. So I'm excited about that. I'm pumped. But I think the new technology is way overdue. It's way overdue, right? And so that's how you gotta approach it. So another new thing that, well, it's not really a new thing, but like I think you're starting to see, and I've seen this on a couple of occasions, but like and I don't know if this is a new feature on the NCAA 25 just yet. It would be cool if it was, and somebody chime in on the chat. But can you import your create your own playbook and import it to college football? If you can, this would be a great teaching tool as well. You deploy your playbook through NCAA, so you're forcing the guys to learn what the calls are and what the plays are and how they're supposed to look. That would be kind of cool if you could do that, which I think you can. I know you can do that in Madden at some point, but if you could do that with NCAA, that'd be incredible. So, but yeah, I'm pumped for the new technology. I'm pumped to finally see colleges doing the iPads, doing the helmet technology. You're finally going to see a lot of coaches like this. All right, Gunright triple 96 max. Alert the free safety. Check the rover. The rover's going to come down. Key him. If he buzzes, hit the curl. If he sticks, hit the flat. Things like that. Like you're going to get that information out there, and I'm here for it, right? So, but another thing I'm excited about, Carson Beck, man, the Lamborghini guy. He's poised for a big season. He is, coming into last year, you weren't really sure what was happening with him. You weren't really sure how he was going to respond to the spotlight because he got beat out by Carson or Stetson Bennett, which based on how that played out was absolutely the right move. But at the time, it was a bit of a head scratcher because Stetson hadn't done anything worth noting at that point in the UAB game when he took over instead of Carson. And you're left going, okay, well, we have this specimen here, this 6'4", 6'5" specimen at quarterback who can run and has a nice arm, and you're passing him up for Stetson. I was confused as to okay, what do we not see in Carson Beck that we see in Stetson that we haven't seen in Stetson Bennett? I was confused. I was like, what is it about Carson Beck? Did he clam up? What's going on here? Is he not able to read the coverages? Does he not know the plays? Can he not communicate? Is he nervous? those were legitimate questions because of what happened when Stetson Bennett beat him out. And so luckily he stuck it out. And kudos to him, man. He stuck it out. He stayed with it. He prepared as if he was the starter. He was ready to roll. He didn't pout. I'm sure he was upset. I'm sure he probably thought numerous times about transferring, and no one would have blamed him. But he stuck with it, and now he's about to embark on a season that's going to be incredible for Georgia. He can leave his legacy and help Georgia achieve the Patriots dynasty, 3 out of 4. And I think he's somebody that with his skill set can be very, very good in the NFL and have a really nice profitable career in the NFL. But the thing that stands out about Carson Beck is the growth throughout the course of the season last year. Like, not only the growth like from when he was the number 2 behind Stetson Bennett and the things that he picked up from that, but the growth he had from week 1 to the end of the season. It just seemed like each week he got more comfortable. And I don't know, and I don't think anybody except those who are in the building will truly know, were they holding him back? Were they easing him in, like trying to like get his training wheels going and like get his feet under him and make sure that he's comfortable? Like, were they treating him with kids' gloves, or was he a little bit nervous? Because at the beginning of the season, it just seemed off. And then he would have these great plays, and then it just was kind of like a roller coaster first few weeks. And you're like, oh, it's gonna be a rough year. Like, I don't know about this guy, like he's good, but like, and he's got flashes, but and then all of a sudden he breaks out, and you're like, well, there's the Carson Beck we were all expecting, and he just took off from there. And I think the linchpin was that Auburn game, truthfully, on the to win that road game, where things are not going well for you. The second half of the South Carolina game was one of those that I think he grew a lot in that game, because the first half was kind of bad all around, and Carson Beck didn't help. And then they come out and they don't necessarily light the world on fire, but he does enough to win. Right. He does enough to win, and you walk away going, glad we won that one. A lot of problems. Carson Beck looked better in the second half. Let's hope he continues to get better and continue to improve, because it's there. You knew it was there, but he just wasn't showing it. And then the Auburn game happens, and you're like, oh God, we're going to lose this game. This is going to be kind of an upset of the century, because like Auburn they were nothing special. And this is no disrespect to Auburn, but they just weren't good. They were nothing special. And you go out and struggle like that first 3 quarters, and some of it was they couldn't protect. Some of it was miscommunication. Some of it was on Carson Beck. But a lot of things were going wrong, and it was a hostile environment. So you wonder like how rattled he was at the beginning of that game. But then, Brock Bowers being the ultimate safety net and being just not human, being alien, helped him get by. And then all of a sudden, fourth quarter comes, and they start clicking and start clicking more. And then all of a sudden, boom, you get out of that game. And Georgia was on the ropes, dude. Like, this wasn't like South Carolina, where you knew all along they were going to win. It's just a matter of when they were going to take over. Georgia was legitimately on the ropes in that game. And I don't care what you say, they were. And so Carson Beck got us out of that. He was able to stay poised. I think that's probably one of his biggest traits is his poise. And it just, when it seems like he's rattled, you never really know. But at some point he just turned it on. And I know it's not like a switch, but like at some point he just clicked, right? And I think it was a few passes just under duress, completed to Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers made a few plays for him, got him comfortable, got his confidence back, and then they really took off from there. And then the rest of the season speaks for itself. Each game was just better than the next, and you saw Mike Bobo and Kirby kind of like back off a little bit and say, let's just let it rip, right? Because why not? And they did, and they didn't run into a buzzsaw until Alabama, and the Alabama game I think it was just a weird game. It was just a weird game. It was not anybody's fault. I just think Alabama had our number that night, and it was just a weird game. And so, but Carson Beck came out of that, and you're just like enamored with his talent. You're enamored with his production, and it doesn't seem like he never got rattled against Georgia Tech. Things weren't easy in that game. Georgia Tech's offense was great. Buster Faulkner, right? That Ole Miss game, Ole Miss comes in, they're a dark horse to upset, and Georgia steamrolls them. And Carson Beck has an amazing game. Missouri the same way. They get into a shootout for a minute, and then Georgia pulls away. Same situation. Tennessee, they beat the crap out of Tennessee. Carson Beck has an amazing game, and he just the leadership qualities he has. Like, I think his calmness, his poise, puts everybody at ease, especially like when you're in Knoxville and it's such a hostile environment. When you're in Auburn, when you're at Georgia Tech, which I know Georgia Tech's not the same as Tennessee as far as atmosphere, but when Georgia Tech fans, when it's Georgia and Georgia Tech is good, the Tech fans do come out. As much crap as I give them, they do come out. And then the Florida State game, good Lord. That was a show. Carson Beck was just dialed in. He was dealing, and he couldn't do anything wrong. And he didn't play very much in that game because they were up 63-3 with, 3 minutes into the game, it seemed like, just Georgia. Every time you look, Georgia, touchdown, Georgia, touchdown, Georgia, touchdown, Georgia, touchdown, Georgia, touchdown, Georgia. Like, and the thing about Carson is his poise. I think his understanding of where to go with the ball. I think he's studied this offense. I think he wasn't just an active backup with Stetson Bennett, and that's why I think he's in the position he's in, because he prepared to be here. So let that be the lesson: prepare yourself, and you will do great things. So with that being said, like I think there's something to be said about the preparation, and I think that preparation led to a lot of confidence in his ability to lead the team, because they bought into what he was saying. They bought into, hey, this guy knows what he's doing. This guy knows how it's supposed to be. This guy will deliver. That's kind of like what Stetson did. Stetson prepared. Stetson was a tough, what. He was able to lead that way, and he was also super prepared and a smart player, and knew the scheme, knew the system, knew the checks, knew where to go with the ball, and sometimes took chances. But he just became a very, very good elite quarterback because the mistakes became fewer and far between. Whereas like when you were starting originally, they were aplenty, which led you to scratch your head and be like, why the hell is he starting? But Carson Beck, man, just the growth, man, the growth, the poise, and just the overall, you look at him, he just exudes confidence. He's a team guy. He's a leader. He's again, he's the guy that people can look to. He is the quintessential quarterback as a leader. Everybody's going to jump on board with him. And this is going to be a fun year for Carson Beck. He's poised for a big season. Whether that means a Heisman Trophy, I don't know. We'll just have to let it play out on the field. I think he's certainly capable. He's certainly capable of being a first-round draft pick as well in the NFL. He's got the measurables. He's got the poise. He's got the smarts. Now he's just got to put it all together and do it on the field. So, like I said, he's ready for this year. It's national championship or bust, as it is under Kirby. That's where the expectations have soared to, which is a great place to be as a Georgia fan. And, honestly, the mindset should be, and I had to get in this mindset myself, and I'm finally feel like I'm there, where I'm just enjoying the ride, because this is awesome. Like, Georgia athletics is peaking right now. Like, it's Georgia, well, not necessarily. Georgia athletics is at a very high level right now. And football, baseball made a super regional, almost got to the World Series. Basketball, made postseason play for the first time in a while after being just downright pitiful. Softball, always in it. Women's basketball, always in the mix. And some of the other sports, golf, made some noise a little bit. Tennis is always good. Gymnastics needs to get back on track, but overall, I think Georgia athletics is riding a nice big wave right now, and you should really enjoy it. And expectations are set high, but like for us fans, we just have to sit back and enjoy it, man. Let them do all the work. And yeah, it's okay to be disappointed. And it's okay to like if Georgia doesn't win, yeah, you can be upset about it. But like understand, our job, the thing we have to execute as fans is show the support. And then Israel and I come on here and we be real and talk about the situation. And because we know a little bit how it works from the inside perspective too. But like, enjoy this. Expectations are set high for a reason. You are upset at a 10-2 season for a reason because Kirby has set the bar that high. So enjoy that fact and let that say, okay, let that give you confidence, right? Because I know every Georgia fan, I was the same way. Something, the Missouri game 2 years ago. That game, I was like, oh God, this is over. The Auburn game last year. For the first time, I was like, we're going to win this. And then, each loss, you just kind of bounce back and, continue to support your team. So that's kind of where I'm at on that. And that's where the bar is. So some other things going on. I'm excited about some of these, I'm curious and excited all at the same about how they're going to replace Brock Bowers. What are they going to do there? Benjamin Urasek and Oscar Delp, I think, are going to lead the way. Those guys are very, very, very similar. I think you could see them try to replace Brock Bowers in the aggregate. Not to sound like Billy Bean here from Moneyball, but like they really are going to try to create him in the aggregate because Oscar Delp is the more athletic, longer kind of tight end, and then Urasek is just kind of like your full. I don't really have a good comparison for him because he's really good. He's really solid. He's a good route runner, good blocker. If I had to give him an NFL comp, let me know if George Kittle would work for that comp for him. Because I think that's a decent comp for him. Or TJ Hawkinson. Like a good receiver that blocks well. A really good receiver that blocks well. Brock Bowers is his own comp. Brock Bowers is Brock Bowers. He's not human. But I think it's a pretty good comp there for I think you're going to have a Kittle Hawkinson type situation here with Delp and Urasek. So I'm interested to see what they do with the tight end position because that was such a big deal the last 3 years that you have to kind of figure out, okay, what are they going to do next? Okay. The quarterback situation behind Carson Beck, God forbid something happens to him. Is Ryan Puglisi, Jaden Rashada, are they going to be ready? Who's going to be ready? What are they going to be able to do? How are they going to be able to react to, are they going to prepare, right? Are they going to check what Carson does? Are they going to be ready to go? Whatever situation. I think there's going to be a few blowouts, like, that Texas game, that's going to be a blowout. Ole Miss, blowout. Bama, blowout. No, I'm just kidding. Those are going to be good games. This is going to be a really good schedule, but you hope there's some blowouts and you hope there's some opportunities for Rashada and Puglisi to get in. And get a little bit of playing time to kind of see where they're at. I'm excited about Jaden Rashada. Some of the drama I'm not here for. Some of the drama that came with him with the NIL stuff at Florida, and some of that is just this flawed system. But I could do without. I could do a little bit without the drama there with Jaden Rashada. So I want to see how he plays, though. I think he's a really talented quarterback. Somebody could be a game breaker. Possibly a Jaden Daniels type quarterback, where he's got that athleticism and that arm talent and the ability to play quarterback and not just be an athlete back there. Um, Somebody that's going to really kind of develop in this system. And I think you're starting to see receivers are starting to take notice of like what Georgia's all about, because like before it seemed like Kirby, that was his blind spot, was recruiting extremely talented wide receivers because of how frequently they ran the ball and how much of a power team Georgia was. But you're starting to see more elite receivers jump on board because, hey, Georgia does actually throw the ball. And I think if AD Mitchell doesn't transfer to Texas, Georgia has a chance. I think Georgia three-peats. That was a big time missing piece there. He was an electric playmaker, but he transferred to Texas, and um, that could have made a massive difference. But I'm excited to see kind of how these receivers respond as well. You're going to see there's a lot of guys uh, with a lot of targets, and I think with them, when you have that many receivers, I think the key is to figure out who does what best and just kind of feature that in the game plan. Like you have a set of plays for Ra, Dominic, um, Humphreys. You have a set of plays for whoever's in the game. Arian Smith, Colby Young, whoever's in the game. You have a set of plays that they run that you can say, okay, well, I need to get the ball to Dominic here. We're going to call, ace right 34 takeoff, like whatever the play call is, you're going to call it to get a certain guy to look. So I'm excited about that too. I think you're going to see this wide receiver core. Like you're not going to be able to zone in on anybody. So I'll talk to. That's something I'm also excited to talk to Israel about. The schedule, man. The road schedule is not favorable. It's downright brutal, actually. You have a road schedule. You have a neutral site against Clemson, which that's a noon kick, and I'm not here for that. You're at Kentucky, which first SEC game. If it was a new quarterback, I'd be more worried, but like it's a new quarterback for Kentucky, Brock Vandagriff, getting his first conference look against the Georgia Bulldogs. So that'll be fun for him. You get a bye week after that before you get Alabama. So you're traveling to Bama. So your first two conference games are on the road, and Bama is going to be overlooking Georgia in anticipation for Vanderbilt. So that game's going to be tough. Auburn, Mississippi State at home. You get a little bit of reprieve there, especially with Mississippi State. Then you're at Texas. Then you're in Jacksonville, which I don't care how bad Florida is. That game's always tough. Then you're at Ole Miss, which the last time you were in Oxford, you got seal clubbed. I think it was like 45-10, and it was 45-0 for most of the game until late. Then you're home the rest of the way to Tennessee, UMass, and Georgia Tech. So just make it to November 16th unscathed, and you got a really good shot because you're back at home and you're better at home. Everybody's better at home. So that schedule's brutal, man. But hey, it's the SEC, man. That's why you bring Texas and Oklahoma in, and they add value to the schedule, and I love it, man. I'm here for it. A lot of people are like, oh man, we're playing tough road games and tough schedules, and man, I'm here for it, man. This is why you play in this league, because you play in this league so that you can play in big games like this, and you can get yourself ready for the NFL. So I'm here for it, man. I'm all the way here for it. So it's gonna be weird not playing Missouri. It's gonna be weird not playing Vanderbilt. It's going to be weird not playing South Carolina. Like that is odd. Like to not have a game against South Carolina is odd. Like it's going to take me getting used to this no divisions thing. That's going to take me. Getting a little bit getting used to. But before we get out of here, I'm excited. Malachi Stark seems like he's closer to being able to play. So that's fun. That is that's a lot of fun, actually. I think he's going to be really good. Obviously, just that he's got to get healthy, and he just needs to get some more tape out there. But if he's healthy, he's going to help this defense immensely. But I'm excited about the development of KJ Bolden, right? I'm excited about the fact that you got these young guys in the pipeline. You finally get a kid from Buford to come commit, and it's got special, man. And he's going to be really, really good, and he's going to be very versatile. So I'm excited about that. But last thing before I get out of here, I don't say we, because there is no we tonight. It's just me, myself, and I. But the most recent arrest, and you read the initial report, and I'll be honest, I was upset when I read the initial report. I was like, come on, man. Like, what are we getting arrested for? This is stupid. And I'm interested to get Israel's take on this, because like some of the details come out and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's probably why. But like the $26 bond, like that threw me. When I saw that, I was like, what the hell did you do to get a $26 bond? This is pathetic. What are these cops doing? And then you see the charge, and I'm like, racing, that's a bit of a stretch. And then you look at the charge, and you look at the police report, and he's going 30 over, and he's weaving through traffic. And you're just like, oh gosh, why do we do this kind of type of stuff? Man, it's so reckless and dangerous and totally irresponsible, because like you had a guy you had somebody die, a teammate. He was your teammate because you were on the team that year. Died in a very similar situation. Guys, Dodge Chargers are not race cars. If you want to race, join NASCAR. All right? Just because you have a fast car just because your car goes 100 doesn't mean you should. Right? Doesn't mean you should. There's a lot of things like that. Just because it exists doesn't mean you should. It's irresponsible. So I hate it. And that, you hate to see those headlines, and you hate to see, that kind of thing happen. But, Kirby addressed it. He addressed it like a pro, obviously. He was extremely disappointed in the arrest, as he should be. The systems that they have in place, obviously nothing is absolute. Nothing is 100%. You can't prevent everything. You have 18 to 21-year-old guys in fast cars with a lot of money in their pocket, probably feeling a little bit invincible. So you have to deal with some of that. And with that, there's situations like this. You hate it, don't condone it, but it happens. But you have to be as proactive as you can be. They have defensive driving courses. They have sessions where they review the law. They review a lot of stuff like that. They have, if you receive a traffic citation, they make you do traffic school. They have suspended guys for traffic violations. Marcus Rosemy Saint was the first one to violate traffic rules after the death, and they suspended him, as they should have. And if it continues to happen, like, you might have to, I think unfortunately it's going to come to a point where you have enough players on your roster now, and with the transfer portal as fruitful as it is, you might have to make an example out of somebody. And I'm not saying I don't know if it's to that point yet, but like, if I'm Smail Munden, I'm a little worried that I might not be putting on this uniform ever again. Like, we may be at that point, unfortunately. And so I don't think that will happen, but like, you could get to that point where, like, next guy that does it, gone. Right? We may be there. That's the only thing that's going to work. Gone. See ya. Your judgment's terrible. if everything is true, which I don't know if it's 100% true because I'm not there, but like all the proactive stuff that they do in trying to prevent as much of this as possible is, well, it's disappointing, for one, but like, I don't know. I think there's a lot in place. There's no excuse now. They know the rules, they know the laws. They have guys, they have people that are there looking out for them, making sure. I have to think at this point they've got somebody on staff. Their job is to run driving reports and see if people have suspended licenses or no license or whatever, right? So yeah. But anyway, hate to leave on such a damper, but I thought Kirby handled those questions really, really well, because that could have gone sideways in a hurry, because you could have gotten some big cheese reporter that wants to make a name for himself, try to make a name for himself, and ask one of those type of questions to Kirby, and that thing could have gotten sideways, and somebody could have baited Kirby into a viral rant, and he didn't. He took the high road on that. And very proud of him on that, how he handled that question. So, but anyway, well, that's where I'm going to leave you here tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed what you saw. There's going to be more of us, and I think from this point forward, I think if Israel's busy, he's just going to have to miss out, because I do want to bring you guys content, and I do want to make sure that you guys have the information. So make sure you like, subscribe, make sure you participate. All right. And we'll check you back here later. And we'll see you back here next time, hopefully with Israel Troop. And we'll address all of these things, plus more, on the Believe in Georgia Dogs podcast on the Believe Network. But until then, see you later. Peace.